Authors, editors, and supporters packed into the aisles of Librairie Paragraphe outside McGill University on November 20th. The 60 people were there for the first ever local live book launch of The Fire That Time, published in 2021 by Black Rose Books.
And thanks to you all for coming on a Sunday.
It's about the 1969 Sir George Williams affair and the ripples it sent around the world, historically cementing the work of Black students in Canada's largest student uprising, and as one of the nation's most influential anti-racist protests. Philippe Filzame was a student protester at the time.
The Sir George affair is about the legend of those who managed to make it work, to bring it forward, who dare to do that.
It started with 6 Black West Indian biology students. They saw their professor, Perry Anderson, was intentionally failing Black students, and they filed a complaint with the university. The complaint went unaddressed for 8 months. Hundreds of students then staged a peaceful sit-in on the 9th floor of the Hall building that lasted 12 days to demand that these concerns were taken seriously. A tentative agreement was reached on the condition that students clear Hall. Some left, but some stayed. Then talks fell apart. The remaining 100 stood their ground, and in response, the university called police to force them out. Chaos ensued on February 11th, 1969. Riot police broke into the building. Students threw computers and punch cards from the windows. When a fire broke out on the floor, the crowd below started hurling racist death wishes on those trying to escape. 97 students were arrested. Professor Anderson was reinstated to his position, and Montreal became the epicenter of Black activism in Canada. This is just one part of the affair, not including what happened before and after. Trials and deportations for those arrested went on for years to follow. The 2021 book explains conversations that led up to the event, the 1969 fire, and the ways that it affected Black community members forever. The affair sparked political movements and liberation work both locally and globally. Christiana Abraham is a Concordia professor and a co-author in the book.
Herman, of course, is really critical. This idea of the space, right? The transnational space where we move in and out. And I think I know when I'm writing, when I'm doing this work, one of the things I note is that I followed in the footsteps of these students 30 years later. I came as an international student in the exact way. I came to Concordia. Concordia just had a different name. And we're all sort of standing, we know that we're standing on the shoulders of these heroes, right?
The Fire That Time book was a link in a series too. Community and university faculty like Abraham hosted a 50-year anniversary exhibit called Protest and Pedagogy in 2019. Then came a task force to make a plan to combat anti-Black racism at Concordia. One of their 88 recommendations was that the university take accountability for the role they played in the affair. University President Graham Carr delivered an apology on October 28th. Concordia professor Ossiane Jazor is a co-author and a task force member, like Abraham as well.
It's good. I think that it's a historical moment, and I'm pleased that we are able to have this at a moment such as this, really, because being close from McGill, the institution, the university, and at the same time, a couple of weeks after Concordia's formal apology for its role in the 1969 Sir George Williams affair. So to have this at this moment is special.
Tesfa Peterson is a PhD student in the Humanities program at Concordia.
Well, like the panelists said, I think the apology is a really good entry point. I think it's important that we acknowledge the university's role in what happened in 1969, and that it had far-reaching implications. And as a Black student at Concordia, I can say that I've done most of my studying there, and I'm in a PhD program now, and it's taken me that long to actually have some kind of messaging from the university around Sir George Williams, even though from a community standpoint I've been familiar with those events for as long as I've been in Canada, more or less.
Peterson says that she wants to see the university start to demonstrate tangible connection to non-academic community members, already doing critical support work.
For me, my commitment to change is a commitment to community. I think that the university is part of that. I think that the university could do a lot more to interface with communities. And when I say communities, I mean communities outside of those four walls, that there is a university there. There's a body of knowledge outside of the four walls of Concordia that can be that we can be conduits between our communities and the institution. My vision for like institutional life going forward, or Concordia, just thinking for it, is how do we link in very concrete, very material ways the university to our communities. I think that there's a lot of really, really important work that can be done there.
Care, real care work, is going to make all the difference to remembering and using grassroots organizing power, says Jazol.
As part of, as a member of the anti-Black racism task force, I can tell you how much work, hours, people dedicated to it outside of what we should normally do for a job, right? Any job, weekends, nights, literally nights, thinking about what you should write, what you should say, who you should contact, how you can push this forward, even worrying what's going to be the outcome. So yes, care work is at the center of this, and hopefully it will be handled with more care to push through and get tangible results that were promised.
I'm still sitting in classrooms where I'm the only Black student in 2022. Like, that's just ridiculous to me. And I've been around Concordia for a bit. So I think it's a question of what happens going forward. We see that we have a lot of really committed faculty, people who are really committed to taking this forward.
Students can buy The Fire That Time at Librairie Paragraphe on Rue McGill and stream a documentary about the fair called Ninth Floor by Mina Shum online.
I think students need to hear from other students who are having similar experiences, and I look forward to really having more Black students at Concordia. Like, that's super important to me, that I see more faces like mine. I think Concordia is one of those places where that is possible. I've been around other university spaces, and I think that if we really commit to what we've said that we're committing to in terms of the task force and all of that, that a lot of wonderful possibilities can emerge from there. So I have some faith, not necessarily in the institution's potential, but in the work of faculty of color and students of color in what we can do to build community at the university.
Sarah Jesmer, Montreal.